any other representative.
Okay, if you're here for that particular hearing, we got another one following this. What I'm going to do is have Mr. McCott, he can just basically explain what his application is, and he's got a visual up here that would point it out. He knows he can't touch the screen or things going on.
I do.
Yeah.
So what you had asked for the last time as far as the distances
Okay.
between the property lines. And then the second page, and there's 8 copies here.
Okay.
It's just a little better detail. It's not exactly to scale on what that's gonna look like, and I'll point out at the, on the screen.
All right,
side.
I'll hand those out to the board.
Okay.
And I'll just remind the people here that afterwards, if you wish to make a comment, that all we ask you to do is, make your comments to the board, give your name and address, and again, but it's not really a discourse with Mr. Todd at this point. It's with the planning board. Okay? Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Well, when we had decided to build the cabin, we originally were thinking being off the grid as much as possible. And what we ended up doing and getting was what is called a nature's generator system. And what it is a portable battery operated generator which can be supplied by solar or by wind. And that's the 3 components of the kit. So far, since we actually moved in May, we've used the solar panel, which is charged this thing perfectly, and we use it for other things other than just a generator in case we ever lost power. So now with the sun in the southern sky, and we don't usually see it again until probably around April. What my proposal is finally putting up this wind turbine and utilizing that to charge. Actually, we have 2 of the generators. So what my proposal is on the back side, or actually the side of this cabin, which faces the back of the property. And I kind of put the drawing and the map up with right along this back side is where this windmill or wind turbine is going to be installed. And basically what it is a 30-foot pole with the turbine, the 22-pound turbine with that 4-foot wingspan on this side of the property. It has a structural hinge that will be attached probably about 8 feet above the ground level, so in case I ever have to change any of the pins, or if there's any maintenance that is involved, easy takedown, easy flip. It is going to be anchored in 3 different spots on this side of the cabin. It will be elbowed and flanged on that 8-foot part where the hinge is. At about 16 or 17 feet, there will be iron pipe holder, solid steel 1.5-inch pipe. And right along the roof edge, there will be 2 metal brackets, plus underneath the roof edge, some more iron pipe holder cracks. So from this point where we are going to be installing it, it is about 44 feet off of this property line. Oh, I touched it, sorry. Off of this property line, and just about 56 feet off of the other side. Now, what code is because it's 30 feet, 110% off the property line, just in case for any reason that this thing decides to come down, which I am certainly not, obviously, anticipating. So this doesn't show my shed. So the power line is very low power, 105 watts. So it's only designed to charge the batteries in this generator. It's not going to be hooked up to the electrical of the cabin. So we'll run this along here, and I will have a box that the generator will actually be in, and that's where the solar panel, which has pretty much been, and it's also a portable solar panel. Pretty much I've had that here since May, and it will all be mounted in an insulated box, right here at the corner of the cabin. So that's what we're proposing to do. Quite frankly, I had to sell the last 6 or 8 weeks, I could probably charge about 2 dozen of those generators, but basic use would be, you know, in the summertime, if we need to use it for the refrigerator, in the wintertime, if we need a second source of heat, but my second source of heat will be our house in North Jersey, so, you know, because that's definitely not going to run a heater for 8 to 10 hours, just one generator. But what I do use the generator for is because we've been exploring a lot more of the green, you know, energy power. Is all of my tools, all of my power tools, my lawnmower, my snowblower, all run off battery, and I've been charging all of those batteries based on the generator being charged by, you know, the 2 components, well, the 1 component so far. Now, down the line, I might add another solar panel, but the wind turbine is the only, it's going to be only 1 turbine that we put in. So, based on that, and based on, you know, the codes of this, number 1, property line, number 2, and off of any utility, our utilities are actually hooked on this side, so with it being mounted on this side of the cabin, there is no issue with it being involved with any utility on this property and anybody else's. And the noise level was the next big thing to consider, and I don't exactly remember what the code was, but from 100 feet you shouldn't hear it more than, you know, you're using a drill. Well, this one, the decibel level is so low you won't hear it from 100 feet on the ground. So that's pretty much what we're proposing to do. I mean, obviously I can answer any questions about it.
Okay, folks,
Yes.
Oh, excuse me.
someone in the back here, got your hand up?
How low is
Need
low?
a name.
How low?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Larry Floss. I own the property right next to him, across the street, and the code I believe was 50 decibels.
That's right.
50
I'm mistaken.
decibels.
A low conversation. While one of the concerns was low conversation is fine because a low conversation only lasts 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
But a low conversation, 24 hours a day, 3/7.
Well, they're suggesting
That's all.
it's 1 decibel. So
Oh,
when you say 50 decibels, it's that power, I forget the rating on that, they call it a power rating, 50 decibels. This is rated at, and I have all the specs here, it's 1 decibel. And I've actually seen a couple of these out. I've gone and, you know, looked at a couple places, and it is virtually, I mean, it's virtually silent. Now, have a conversation out in our area.
Yeah.
You could be at the back of your house having a conversation, and obviously, you know, it's, especially at nighttime, you can hear it. But, you know, and this is very low, very low.
It's gonna depend on how far the receptor is, so the individual hears it, maybe a certain number of feet away. The device is gonna generate 50 dB right at the source, correct?
It is now.
At the
At the
property
property
line.
line.
Property line.
Property
And
line.
what's the distance?
Well, what their
Property line
code
to the house.
is 100 feet, that should be lower than what you're suggesting. And it clearly will. And quite frankly, what I've also done is when we anchor it to the side, I put in actually some rubber pads where it is going to be mounted, especially on roof edge, so that it eliminates any vibrating noise, and stuff like that.
Sir, do you know how far your house is from the property line?
It's straight, well, it's, the house is across the street, the camp is across the street.
To camp?
But, the lot that
Yeah,
is right next to the line, that we show there,
Yeah.
is actually where our camper is gonna go. And like I say, the only reason we brought up this issue, this question was, the windmills in Fenner are nice, quiet windmills. We're all familiar with that sound. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The windmills on Tug Hill make what's called a white noise, and it's a gearbox noise, and it's a whir, 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 whir. That's what we were kind of concerned about. If it's gonna make a gearbox noise 24/7, 365, well, that's a little different issue.
That would be a different issue.
Say, but at 1 decibel, I don't see whether that would be any kind of issue.
I would say 1 decibel is almost inaudible.
Exactly. Anything else?
They're using, like these little tools, but 50
Yeah.
decibels is a transformer hum or something like that, right? If you're right next to it, that's not gonna be anywhere near that.
Anything?
Can we have, anyone else like to make a comment? Yes.
Mary Ann Floss, I just wanted to know, is it, you changed this out like in years, does he have to submit another permit for it? Or is this like just it?
This is what he's getting a permit for.
Right,
If all of a sudden he decides he wants a Fenner windmill, that's a different story.
okay, yeah, you gotta get a new permit.
I mean,
Okay.
obviously I'm exaggerating, okay?
No, no.
All right, but no, as long as he stays with what he is applied, he's good. If he needs to replace it because of whatever, then there usually is no issue with that. It's if he changes what he's applied for.
Okay,
And quite frankly, if it turns out to be any little bit of an issue, I'll take it down and I'll put it up as a flagpole. But
Mainly these home, and we haven't really done a lot of them. And I gotta be honest with you, a couple that I know that we've done, they don't operate anymore for whatever reason. But they're basically so that they, one, don't interfere, noise. We don't really have a view shed issue because we don't have a defined law with view sheds in this town. But, and the other issue is if for some reason they're up there 30 feet, they fall on the property that they're intended to be on, not yours. Okay, those are basically what is looked at for these small, this is what did you say, 150 watts?
105.
105 watts, even less. Okay, so you're not going to produce a lot of electricity with something like this.
And again, it's basically recharging the 2 12-volt batteries. I mean, it's not capable of recharging them, in a couple of hours. This is just something. The solar panel, when the sun's out, it's pretty quick.
Anyone else?
Good.
Well, we'll just we'll wait here just about a minute. We'll close this hearing, and then we have a hearing for Ms. Rollinger down on Route 31 for a 2-lot subdivision. And if you're here for that one, you're on next.
Thank you.
Pardon? That's about it. Huh?
How big is the rotor gonna be on the,
It's just over, well, the wingspan is just over 4 feet. No, it's the actual fin or blade is just under 2 feet, and there's 5 of them, but adds the extra difference, and I think the actual total is like 50.
This is a kit, right?
This was a kit, yes.
So you just gotta remember where fold A and goes into block B, right?
Oh, yes.
Just so that these people, you're not gonna be flying fins off to the neighbors.
No, the fiberglass and the technology today is they use the odd number of fins, and that keeps the balance on them, a lot better. The hub, that's what I was.
I'm sure they're learning. I'm sure that technology is improving as we go. Yes. Okay, can that board, last call, anyone else on Mr. Todds' application? Not hearing anything, board, I'd entertain a motion to close that hearing.
I'll make a motion to close.
Motion made,
Second.
second. Any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Right.
Opposed? The secretary will read the notice for the second and final hearing this evening.
A public hearing will be held by the Town of Sullivan Planning Board pursuant to section 276 of the town law on the application of Marcel Rellinger for approval of subdivision of land located at 1981, 1985, and 1987, Route 31, Chittenden, New York. SLB being 50.58-1-6. The applicant proposes to subdivide this area into two lots. Lot number 1 will be 0.44 acres, and lot number 2 will be 0.74 acres. The hearing will be held on January 4th, 2022 at the Town Office Building, Lakeport Road, Chittenden, New York, at 6:45 p.m., at which time all interested persons will be given an opportunity to be heard. A copy of the plat of said subdivision has been filed with the town clerk and is available for public inspection prior to the public hearing. This and all meetings held in the Town of Sullivan are open to the public.
I don't know, Marcel or Joe, do you want to come up and just kind of roughly show what's going on up here on this one?
Sure.
Joe.
Joe Salem.
Hello, everyone. I'm Joe Salem. I'm the land surveyor for Marcy Langer. And her real estate agent is out ill today and couldn't be here, so she asked that I speak on her behalf. I think you all recall the proposed subdivision from last month. She has two residences with separate addresses on one tax parcel. And her first choice was to sell it as is in its entirety. And the realtor is having trouble doing that. And so they started exploring the idea of splitting the lot into two separate residences. And that's where we left it last month with a couple of questions. Phil had a question about the side setbacks, and I have that information tonight. But it took us all this month to hear back from Aqua and the sewer people about the feasibility from a cost perspective on splitting the parcels so that she could sell. She wants to sell both of them and leave it. And she wanted to find out about the feasibility of doing that. She just got her final answers, I believe, just last week.
Yeah.
And it appears as though it is a feasible option for her. And so she would now like to begin making contractual arrangements get a new water line put into, a new water meter put into this property here, this one. And then continue with splitting it down historic lot lines. I have these maps again. Should I pass them out for you guys?
We can also talk about it during the regular meeting.
There hasn't been a lot of additional survey work done on it because we didn't know whether we were moving forward or not. So this looks identical to the one you saw last month. Phil, you had one question last month regarding.
Yeah, did you run this by Larry?
We left it with Larry. Did you talk with Larry Ball?
Or what's this one?
I just want to make sure that Larry was good with the side setbacks.
We calculated the side setback at 7.5 feet from.
Is this the same map that you just handed out? Identical?
But in the
This is the setback.
same tokens, business zone.
I'm just talking from fire.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know that 5 is a fire concern, and the closest distance is 7.5.
Okay. You okay with that, Phil?
Again, only
Aye.
Larry's good with it.
Right, well,
That's because we're saying 31's the front?
I'm sorry.
We're saying Route 31 is the front?
Yes.
That's why we got side, even though the driveway's on the other?
Right, I'm
Yes.
just looking sideline setbacks for fire. I know.
his address,
The
it's
address,
weird.
the postal address, right?
Huh?
Postal address was,
Yeah, the postal address and the mailboxes are up on 31.
it all looks like it's the other
So
side.
did that include soffits and all that?
Yes. Yes.
I know, it's always been confusing.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there,
You would think, right?
is there anyone that wishes to speak to this particular hearing? I don't see too many people here now. In case somebody just came in, we are in the process of having a hearing for Michelle Rollinger down on Route 31. It's not very far from the creek there, and she has a parcel that has three units on it, basically a barn and two houses that's all kind of lumped together, and she'd like to separate the one that's off to the west, far west. It's actually on School Street, but it has an address on Route 31.
It's this property here.
Yeah. Okay? Does anyone wish to speak to that?
What is the status of that shed that appears to be right on the line?
It is right on the
I mean,
line.
could that be removed or moved or something of that nature if it needs to be in order to accommodate the sale?
We did discuss that last month.
Oh, I
It is a
didn't
pretty junky shed.
Okay.
It can be moved if that's a requirement of the town. There's also, let's see if it shows in this picture. There's a new fence that Marcy had permitted last year.
That's right.
And it runs from the front here, it's shown on your maps.
Yeah.
And it runs out across, I didn't touch it. And we don't see, she's trying to keep her costs down, but we don't see any other way. We're proposing to have that fence moved. So it's all on the orange property.
Okay.
You see the stockade fence in the front there.
Yeah.
The shed is pretty junky. We were kind of.
I would say let's plan on, we get we get the regular meeting, we'll entertain. You're going to be the number 2 on the agenda. But at that point, I think that probably the board's feeling is that shed needs to find a home on one property or no home at all and get out of there.
Proper side yard.
Yeah. Either or.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and the fence needs to be moved down to the one property.
Right. Correct.
Okay.
Unless somebody wants a
Just a
fence
mapping.
a fence that goes nowhere on their property.
I will, and I'll. Phil has asked that I confirm with Larry that the 7.5 foot setback is sufficient
Okay, for fire.
because of the fire code. The other question I had, just a simple one. The historic lot numbers, this is from a 1932 subdivision. You see in lots 4, 5, 6, 7, they're all around there. So when I split this, I was going to do lot A and lot B. Some towns don't like that. You guys okay with that? Just, otherwise.
We normally go 1 and 2.
I think
We
it's gonna
use
be-
numeric, but that's okay.
I think it's gonna be confusing if I go 1 and 2.
I would say so too. Yeah. In fact, do they really need to be shown?
I was gonna make them part of the legal description,
Okay.
so I'd like to keep them on there.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
all.
That. What does that? Just curiosity. What would those numbers be dated in? When would that occur?
I can't remember the dyslexia in me, whether it was 1923 or 1932. But they're old.
Okay.
Yeah. 30, 23. Yeah, it's an old subdivision.
Good. All right, we'll wait just a couple of minutes here and see if anyone shows. We'll close that hearing, start the regular meeting. Was that part of the Hopper Farm? Is that what you're saying? Okay, just really quickly, and you need to label things that you've got there now. You have a B&L report on, this is for Mr. Taylor's project, a B&L report on the SWIP, you have which is hot off the press, and you have a B&L statement that was actually in the 18th of December that is on the
Seeker.
Seeker. Am I the right way?
No, it's the other way
I got it
around.
The other way around. I'm reversed. Okay, the one today is the Seeker. The Schwip was the 18th. Okay. You also have a generic draft that John put together that we need to go through at some point about the Seeker resolution itself. That's there. You have, I've forgotten a whole pile of stuff I did in there. What else?
Emails.
Oh yeah, you got an email from Ed Reed to John Lange concerning an issue there today. That also is with Mr. Taylor. Okay? And I think that's it for the moment.
Do you want to recognize those young kids that
Beg your pardon?
they're probably here for the government class?
Yeah.
Beg your pardon?
Who's teaching it now that Pebbles over there, Tommy Clerk?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
That used to be his thing.
Okay? So, at some point here, we'll peruse. We'll get to these things, okay? I thought we were going to do Dollar General first, but I don't see where. We'll do that right after the hearing. Oh, okay, yeah, that's it. If there's something else,
Wow.
Okay, can we, last call on the Rollinger hearings, 2-lot subdivision, Route 31. Okay, don't see much activity here. Entertain a motion from the board to close that hearing, please.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Not hearing it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The hearings are over. The regular meeting for the Town of Sullivan Planning Board for, January 2022 will commence. And the minutes for the December 21 meeting have been handed out. And I entertain a motion to amend / and/or correct, approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion. Yes.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. The agenda this evening, we have had 2 hearings, and we'll entertain those people in that order. And then, under old business, we have Mr. Taylor's campground and request for PDD, and we have an application for a Dollar General on Route 5 up across from the plaza. And what we'll do is we'll do those 2 hearings. We'll do the Dollar General, folks, and then the Mr. Taylor. Now, I have no new business. Is there someone sitting out there that? Okay, all right. And I presume this is your home subdivision. Okay, we can deal with that. All right. And let's see, we have participation in government students, right? Okay, now what do we normally have them recite? I guess we don't. All right. At some point, we will sign your application, okay, or your green sheets, okay. You may not wait. You can wait till the whole day. All right. We can have Mr. Matat, please. Drop. Want to stand up? Come up here somewhere in this general vicinity. Okay. Board, Mr. Todd has applied for a home, energy system, a home windmill that really doesn't put out all that many, much voltage or wattage, I should say, energy. And he has submitted a site plan for it, and we have reviewed it. Do you have any questions of Mr. McConnell? Did we do a seeker? I don't believe so.
We did.
We did? Did we?
Last month, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, you're comfortable? Okay, good. Can we have a motion? Move to accept.
I'll second.
Any discussion concerning that? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
You are in business, sir. And what you will get is a notice of approval or, action. And you keep that on file. That, just for your information, that stays with your property.
Yes.
You sell the property,
No.
it stays there,
I won't be taking it down.
Well, you can't take it down the road. You just, you can't. Okay.
So I will get notification permit. and-
You'll get one. Now, if you need a building permit though, you're gonna need to see Larry Buck. You're gonna need to see.
Which I did submit with the special users.
Okay,
permit.
does he
And I
have,
talked to him on the phone.
Pardon?
before all this.
okay. Well, you need to follow up with him,
Okay,
okay?
Yep.
But other than that, you're done with us.
all right, thank
Okay.
you very much.
You're
Appreciate
entirely
it.
welcome.
Have a good night.
Okay, Joe. Okay, board, you've seen, again, he's doing the split, Joe's trying to do it, there's an old property line here, he's trying to follow. The question arose that, make sure that he's got enough. We're really looking at this as the house is fronting Route 31, even though they access it from School Street. Okay, well, their address is Route 31. And that right side boundary there's a little question about, if they got enough, they gotta have fire, they gotta have 5 feet. And Larry's gotta make sure that that's okay, and Joe's gonna check with him.
There's 7.5.
That's right. And the other thing that was brought up was that shed that straddles the line, and we have a fence outlined. And he's gonna have to probably move the fence or, close it off there on one property.
The fence in front of the house on the left is a new wooden stockade fence, less than a year old.
Right.
So-
But it's a house in the middle, actually, isn't it? Isn't that the one that's got the fence?
Yes. So Marcy's proposing to take that brand new fence and move it off on the other side of the yellow and orange line.
Okay,
And so it'll be with the middle house.
okay. Anything else?
When I do the subdivision map, how do we want to show that fence? Is it to be moved or something like that on it, or just show it as it is, or?
You could add a note to the map, calling out the fence, saying, fence to be relocated off of whatever lot it's encroaching on.
Got it. And same with the shed, if she decides to either move it or get rid of it, I'll make a similar note, unless it's already done, then it's not an issue, but if it's not done yet and we're trying to get it
Yes.
subdivided, I'll just make a note.
Well, just to make sure, because we want to know, those are the conditions, it's got to be done or something.
Gotcha.
Okay, probably that would forestall some other permit along the line if that was necessary.
Understood.
Okay. I'm sorry, myself.
Don't I need the permit first? Because that's what I'm waiting for. I don't want to start.
So, it's a chicken and her egg thing. She wants to, first you gotta put in a water line, right? That's the next step, right, Marcy? So you gotta get the water line and the water
Oh,
meter.
no, I need to get the approval.
You will.
I'm not
That,
gonna-
I don't want to put words in the board's mouth, but in all likelihood, you're going to get approval here in a few minutes, okay?
Oh, okay,
Or
okay,
less.
yeah, then
or less. And then, but these are conditions that you're going to need to take care of,
Yeah.
okay? Before you really can sell it and do whatever else you need to do.
So theoretically, if she gets approval, we'll move the fence, we'll take care of the shed, we'll install the water line, and we'll file the subdivision now,
There you go.
There you go.
okay?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay?
Sure.
All right. Board, you okay with this?
Yes.
All right, have a motion, please?
I'll make
That
a
will
motion.
include all these things.
I'll make a motion.
No
I'll
second.
second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so good. You're good. Okay? All right, Dollar General. And who are the principals here tonight?
My name is Tom Pappas. I'm representing Griffiths Engineering with Jason Lang. Jason, if you're. We're here to talk about the Dollar General site plan.
Okay,
Route 5. I've got some materials to hand out for you.
great.
And got 7 copies of everything. More paper. Huh?
Yeah, give us a second.
No, no.
to kind of go.
There's a few different. I'll walk you through what these are in a second here.
Okay.
Usually your room. Maybe not there. Thank you.
Sir. Over here.
Do me a favor, just for somewhere beside you or something. Thank you.
Now the first, just to orientate you a little bit, the first documents that you see here are, we've got just some email trail notes there from the New York State DOT, and also a traffic consultant that we've engaged to do a traffic analysis in the area. The small drawings that you're gonna see are.
Can we just spend a second on that comment just a minute?
Absolutely.
Okay, that, board, you've not seen this. This was originally presented to the ZBA.
Yes,
I
we were at the
believe,
ZBA
right?
meeting last month, that's
Yeah.
correct. Yep.
When they had to go in front of the ZBA for, some parking adjustments, okay?
We had originally, I believe originally we had 36 spaces in the parking lot. The ZBA, when we went to see them, they wanted to, we made a compromise, it was like 56 spaces I believe we came up with. Increased the lot, added some more parking. Their big concern was primarily snow storage and things like that, what we might lose for spaces in the wintertime when we're piling up snow at the end of the lot and all that. So, that way there we would still, but that way where we'd still maintain a good number of spaces and still have some snow storage.
Okay.
And that should more than cover our needs as far as Dollar General goes, because I know we had some examples of studies and things like that of.
We saw some of the original data that you know, you presented as
Mhm.
why you needed what you needed,
Yep.
et cetera. Okay. Okay, just I want to make sure the board is, and know that this particular one here, basically, go ahead, continue. I don't want to get
Like I said, the first 2 documents, usually when we begin this process, usually State Highway, we want to be engaged, New York State DOT. We also like to do some digging around traffic-wise and all that stuff to make sure that we're not doing, we're taking care of any impacts that we may have positive or negative traffic-wise. From what the traffic analysis has shown so far and all that there should not be enough trips generated, at even peak times and all that kind of stuff to warrant any major impact in traffic in the area. DOT has recommended that there
Will we get to see that report?
Yeah, actually, the letter is in your documentation that you have there.
Okay.
It's the one that has the traffic signal, little traffic signal emblem on the
Yes.
upper left-hand corner, yep. And then also the documentation that you have there with the red bar at the bottom that's a no trail from DOT, indicating, a couple of things that they wanted us to do that from our original plan. We shifted the driver location 20 feet, I believe, and then they're also recommending that we, on Route 5, that we mirror the turning lane that goes into the facility across the road. So they're gonna be creating another turning lane to turn into Dollar General for a left-hand turn, and it's really just taking out the hash markings and creating a new turn lane there. So, and they also felt that there was no need for a traffic signal in that area either. The pavement's wide enough, the lanes are wide enough to accommodate what they need to do.
They didn't have no problem with it being across from
Nope,
the existing one coming
no,
out?
not at all. Matter of fact, they told us where they would like to put it, and they gave us the go-ahead to proceed ahead with the Term 33 process.
Really?
So this, I don't have a comparison here. So we have actually increased the alignment with the access
Yes.
into tops, into that dedicated top.
That's
sections,
correct,
right?
yep.
Okay, across the road.
Mhm.
Yeah, it looks at here. Okay. I didn't know that I picked up on that.
And if you, just to orientate you a little bit, as far as the drawings, what you're looking at there, the first 11 by 17 drawing that you're looking at, the color drawing, is basically the site plan layout. The next two that follow after that are the site plan layout, but they have added the delivery truck that normally services the Dollar Generals and all that is the larger tractor trailer, or WB67. So we included the tractor trailer movements and the graphics and all that, in left, in eastbound and westbound entries and exits. So you can see that. And then there's also a few different sets of the actual floor plan drawings. Floor plan is the same throughout them, but if you'll notice when you go through there's 3 different options of storefront elevations, so you get an idea of the store itself, the look of the store, the finishes, that sort of thing. And they are, they would be basically sheet 1 are A2, 3, 4, and 5. And like I say, you'll find 3 different sets of them there for 3 different, slightly different looks.
Okay, now how we see the T's here. Now, if we, where are we with making a choice?
That,
You want to speak to that, or?
It's still up in the air. I mean, typically
Right.
we would probably propose the third. We built, I believe, the first one
No.
more than, it's either the first one or the third one is what we typically build.
So,
I'm on A6, I don't know what that means. I'm on A6.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
tell you what, I will.
In general, we're coming from the perspective that the 2 more western structures are relatively recent as far as town history, and we do believe that their facades, they have got some variety, but that's a better look coming into the village, into the community, and we would like to continue that. We feel that we've got the Dollar General in the village. Hopefully, for village people, that remains as such. That's not our choice, but we hope it does. But we would rather have a little more upgrade out there to keep within keeping of that kind of concept as we move down that way. We don't have a lot of opportunities for commercial construction like that. We like to take advantage of that.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yep.
So I don't know, Boyd, whether you want to comment on any of that, or you want to wait and digest some of this, because I think where we're going to go here is this is going to need to go to B&L. Okay, Barton LaJudas, I know you guys are familiar with them. and they will need to review this for us. And so you need to get these plans to Taylor Botar, Bottar. That's our nexus to B&L. Taylor Botar. And basically, he would understand the review, concept, and make sure that, everything's in line, the engineering, et cetera, along that line. And we really don't have a particular law, we don't have, architectural standards here to do that. So that's not in the picture, but that's what you're gonna be looking at, making sure that, he realizes we've addressed the very issues that we're talking about. The board.
So I don't understand, why A2 is an important elevation? I have two of them in there, they're both the same to me, I don't see the difference.
They are, what you're looking at, you should notice on each, you have 3 different sets that are stapled.
I know, I see that.
In the lower left-hand corner, you will see a handwritten either A, B, or C.
Which corner?
Lower, if you're on the front of the drawings?
Where's A, B, C?
Nope, first sheet.
Oh, first sheet, yeah, but I'm looking at these A2s, they're both the same.
Right, and they may be from one set, they're elevations for all sides of the buildings.
I know. I understand that, I'm trying to say where are the differences in the buildings?
So on A,
You said west elevations only?
yeah, it would be the stone knee wall doesn't go all the way.
So the
around.
most important elevations, there is no choice. There are no options, right? On A2, that's it. One where you see the sign?
No, there should be differences.
A2 on the last one in your package is different.
Terrible to do this. Should have separated. So there's 2 choices, right? This
Yeah,
one
you've
and
got
this
you have a lower stone finish and then an all metal siding.
one. No stone finish.
Or no stone finish, correct.
Okay.
And you mentioned that there was a particular location that you liked the look of?
No, I'm not, I don't know if they're ready.
Okay.
They need to adjust this.
Gotcha.
Okay, because I don't think we're ready to commit to anything.
Okay.
But we do appreciate the presentation.
What about landscaping? I see,
Landscaping is always part of our plan.
but it doesn't show anywhere
And
here.
they will not be shown on the conceptual plan, but there will be, and that's something that you can provide us your guidance on as well, of what the town
I think we
requires.
like to see what you would propose, and then we'll react to that. I mean, right now, I see nothing, it looks like such a stark building. with
Right,
things
and
that-
these are, and that's because what we're showing you right now are just the conceptual layout plans and all
I
that.
understand, I get that.
We'll have full lighting plans and landscape plan and all that and stuff that goes along with it as well.
Yeah, I'm looking here at A4, the east view, that's the view coming out of the village, and that's a pretty stark.
That long flat wall?
Metal panel.
Complete, pole barn
Looks like a
style.
warehouse.
I mean, if you had some landscaping or something to kind of break that up a little bit, make it a little more attractive, because that's definitely gonna be something that people are gonna see as they leave the village. Coming from the other direction, it looks nice, you see the front, you got the, the design, the windows and such, but on this, it really,
Just carry it through to all 4
Yes.
elevations.
We
yeah.
need to look at these. Okay, so
Yeah.
are you ready to,
Yeah.
I know, you folks do approach this a little differently than a lot. Okay, you kind of want to check the box and go to the next thing, go to the next. But again, we need to adjust what you presented us as far as site plans and options of this guy. And again, we certainly, we want the external, we want the landscape, we want to see what that like. But as far as construction and, how you're gonna handle your effluent, septic, et cetera, and that design, are you ready to go to B&L at this point with that? This is standard procedure on our part. This is what we normally do.
Right.
Okay, and just so you understand, and you're corporate, I presume, so, oh no, okay, well, anyway, you will, B&L contracts with us, okay, with the town. So you submit them, they kind of look over, what have we got here, what do we need to evaluate? They write a little proposal as to what that would be. That money needs to be put into escrow with the town, and then they proceed and give us the report. And again, the more given back and forth there is, then obviously the cost goes up on that. But we don't, you guys have done this many times, and I don't see we're not breaking new ground. So this ought to be pretty smooth
No,
as far as that goes.
you're absolutely correct. That's,
Okay.
I'm assuming the package you're talking about was under the full construction package.
Yes.
With all,
He wanted to come here tonight just to kind of introduce it to everyone, see if there was any major red flags, let you know what we wanted to do.
Well, I think you crossed a couple here. There's been some, there was a little chatter in the community about traffic. You kind of addressed some of that with the DOT, and we've got a traffic report here. And the idea of a potential light, okay, which could have some ramifications beyond Route 5 here, okay? And, but I think you've addressed those. Other.
I got a thought. I'm
Sure.
looking at your entrance aisle, the main one coming in. Would you normally have parking places that close to the entrance? If somebody's backing out, they're gonna be right into,
the site plan here,
yeah, the top two, yeah.
these close ones here?
You got the first lane on the left, right, that's a parking space. You back up, you're right into the entrance. Aren't you right into the drive almost?
We should take those out and move them.
I mean, wouldn't you normally do that? Why would you show it so close like that? I don't know.
Honestly, no one's really gonna be parking in those spaces.
That's why
So, I
shouldn't.
mean, we can move them, it's not a big deal.
We can, yeah.
I know you need to get the count though.
If
I
we
know
need
it's
to
why
make
you do it.
adjustments, we can make adjustments.
You see what I'm saying?
That's a good point, yeah, definitely. good.
On
The
both sides.
employees will be in the far west, parking lot.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And they're
here too.
Right, but
I think that's where the snow's gonna go, quite honestly.
I'm sorry?
Yep, that's where the snow will go, there's a lot
Oh,
of space.
okay.
But it is pretty typical when you enter, when you enter in the drive and all that, you do go through parking zones. They usually start right away.
Okay. Okay with that, John?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions at this point?
No, we see this.
We can still come back, but you'll have time to go through this and
Absolutely.
and see if you have any questions. Just kind of got to get with this tonight. But I'm just saying for expediency, because we'll have a public hearing at some point. But we need to get to a B&L review statement here. Again, I don't know whether that's true, but that's kind of where we're going. So I would
That's our
think
normal
you need to
progression
proceed.
anyways, really.
You need to proceed with the B&L issue at this point.
Okay.
John, because we don't need engineering drawings. This needs a GML. So this could go out.
It can go out.
To county.
Yeah.
This could go out to county for a GML review, which.
I agree, if we have enough packages to it, then they can
I don't
send,
know.
Jerry can send one out.
If we got, you got an extra here? An extra one of what you just handed us?
Yep.
Okay, Bill's got it.
Actually, I had it.
We've got an app, we've got the app, and we can go from
We'll
there.
start the secret process at the next meeting.
Right. Are we good?
And I'd just say, for the board's edification, because I've dealt with a bunch of other Dollar Generals, take a look online, and these guys, they got some flexible architecture that they've introduced to other communities. I would just say educate yourself on what they've agreed to before. And I just pulled up, I don't know, dozens of different facades.
And I see you looking at that.
Some of them
You
are
gotta be
cool.
careful. You gotta be careful, because some of those buildings
Yeah.
aren't the type of building that we're proposing here.
Yeah.
Just because of how it's a corner entry, so.
No, when I'm talking about architectural features that I think John was sort of keying in on, the stuff that I know you guys would offer anyway.
Yep.
So I'm just saying, you guys can have the back and forth.
Give that
Get a
right
couple
to
features
the
and soften it down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think you guys always say, what you're showing just as discussion purposes. But I found you guys to be very.
That's where, I've done that, so that, it really is quite interesting. That if you Google town in general, you're gonna find.
I mean, there's some great looking buildings in Florida.
Yeah, but some of them are, you know, they're Bogolus or, you know, they're wherever, they're around the country. Okay, but then again, you know, the palm trees probably wouldn't fit. Okay, we could go more deciduous or something, all right? We can do that.
Yeah, there will be, the next time you see a version of this, likely we'll have a landscape plan, lighting plan.
That would be great.
The whole package.
Yeah, and, I think that if we have a statement and have a product statement, we probably don't need a photometric here. Or do we?
We'll provide you one, yeah. It's typically part of our plans.
So that goes with the general.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, so we made some progress here. All right, anything else?
The board just introduced the project to you guys, make sure everybody was okay with things as is so far, and we'll progress forward.
Okay. We thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do we just, we pencil you in for the next meeting? Will you attend the next meeting, or do we need to?
We can do that, right?
That's up to you. I mean, if you're.
We'll get the plans in, and there's enough time to review them, we'll come in front of you, and.
We can have that discussion in between.
Yeah.
You get us whatever material you need as quickly as possible.
We can get things
But
generated.
we'll leave it, now, are we under the understanding we are moving towards B&L now?
Absolutely, yep.
So you're gonna reach out to Taylor and
Yes.
see what he wants, and we can go from there. If he needs a statement from us as to what to review, we can definitely do that.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Sure.
John, what was that, site where you were looking at the different
I
sites?
sent it to Frank and to Jerry, let me see if I can send it to you, Paul, but again, just to their point, not all of these are in play, but just to give you a concept.
Yeah, well, I just wanna see
I'll
what
send you-
options there
I'll
might
I
send
can
be.
tell you guys, we do this, this is our
Okay,
business, this
okay.
is stuff.
I'll find it,
Yeah, I'd like to look
not
at
to
it.
Jerry
Every
and
day.
Frank already have it,
All right.
there we go. Paul.
I mean, yeah. Close to it.
Do you want that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I got these.
Hey, Paul, what's good? I can't remember your email.
J6PA@gmail.
Is it basic?
PA
DA?
at Gmail. Thank you, John.
Don's way.
Okay. Mr. Taylor, and Associates. Or Mr. Reed, or whatever. Okay.
My plans were in the car, I figured we had nothing to look at.
We're, I think we're good. I see, Dave's got his, Sherry's got hers. We're good. Okay.
All right, pump yours?
Well, we got.
Oh, all right, okay.
I think we're good, though, yeah.
Yours said, whatever.
So, back with Jeff now, obviously this is a continuation of a meeting that we've been having for a while now on Jeff's campground property. We've been going back and forth a little bit with B&L. We got their review comments. We finally got their comments on the SWIP, which we had been waiting for. So we got into those comments. been updating the plans in accordance with those. So wanted to come back in front of you with those updates. You guys got the updated plans that I dropped off.
All board members got those.
Yeah. So we're back. Those plans that you got now incorporated all those earlier changes that we had discussed, and those were the plans those are the plans that were reviewed by Taylor.
Here, that we have, the current, the current.
Yeah. Yep.
These are 11 something, JD.
Yeah.
Right?
So those are the ones that went to Taylor.
All right. Having said that, this is really the first time that this board really has had the opportunity to scrutinize the latest plans. Now, we got them out last week, and people had the opportunity to look at them if they wished. I did. What I'd like to do, and I believe you've got the same copy right there in front of you, or at least a copy thereof. Okay? If we could maybe just walk through this and maybe answer some questions, and maybe you could clarify some things for us, maybe as we go.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
And then the board, if they have comments that they would like to ask at this time about any particular page.
Yep.
You know, that way we've kind of said, hey, we've all gone through this together, and then we can talk about where are we? You know, what have we got to do? What we got to do to move on down the road here? Okay. Inside that cover, I'll just point out to the board. That you should familiarize yourself with the construction sequence. And for those of you, a couple of you here who are really familiar with construction, there's all these construction notes about different things, but basically that construction sequence is pretty interesting if you're not really familiar with the construction process. But you know, a lot of the environmental things have to be done right up front, and that's basically what that. Can I? Can you see?
Okay.
Can you see me?
I got questions written down.
These guys have got this one. Thank you, you guys got this one. Okay. On GA 003, just the kind of the general layout of the existing land. It'd probably be a good idea at some point to indicate that the neighbors here, you got the bus garage, you've got a rise, you got Doc Marshall that borders that property on that side of the road. Okay, and that probably would be not a bad idea on the north side also. Some of these, I know that this is probably procedure, but a lot of them, every time you're showing a stormwater with no reference contours here, it's a little hard to get a perspective.
Well, yeah. So
eventually you will. You're going to there's going to be a detail somewhere in here, which we found those. But I mean, I'm just saying, as someone looking at these, for us, that would be very helpful. On CA 102, okay, a couple things that that there are no dimensions really that we found them. I found them later, but there's really no dimensions on like the bathrooms and stuff like that in any of these. They give you a square footage, but that's just a conceptual. Do the math. They're all rectangles, or they're all squares, or if you want to make them a trapezoid, it makes it a little more complicated. Okay, I'm on CA 103, and we're on the other side of the road now, on the north side. A couple of things that, again, just so the board can react to them. I think the parking is adequate for the tree houses, because you're only got 16 tree houses and you got 18 spaces. And it appears that that road is about 10 feet from the property line. Is that correct? On the very bottom of the page where you're showing the tree houses.
I think it's about 15 feet off.
You think it's about 15? Okay.
Can I ask,
Go ahead.
can I ask about, the tree houses? You have special insurance if somebody falls out of one or something?
Yeah, you wouldn't operate a business
Yeah,
without
that's something
insurance.
special.
I mean, that goes without saying.
We don't
I
normally get
think
into
that
their
the town
private
regulates
insurance structure, so any business person's gonna have to have the insurance, so we don't try to dig too deep into that.
What-
But it's a good comment, but I don't know that it factors into.
What are the dimensions of the tree houses? I never did see that anywhere.
And how high is it gonna be off the ground?
Roughly probably about 8 feet off the ground. We haven't, we're gonna, go for going, must propose the designs to the tree houses.
And how many people how many patrons would they accommodate?
2 to 6, depends. You'd have.
2 to 6? I mean, would they sleep? Could you sleep 6 people in there?
Yeah, I mean, that would, with a tree house, it's a place to stay, so if you're gonna accommodate 6, you'd want to be able to sleep 6.
Okay, so it's gonna be like a 3-bedroom? These are gonna be 3-bedroom
I mean, I don't know if you've ever been
structures?
to campgrounds and stuff, cabins, there's some cabins that are 1 room that sleep 6 people. It doesn't have, some have bathrooms, some don't. Campgrounds have all different styles.
Right, but what are these? We're asking specifically these.
These, we have not decided a final design for the cabins.
Okay, so that right now, design is to be determined.
So you could be having a variety of styles then, right?
I mean,
Larger,
But
smaller.
you have, somehow you got
Yeah,
some
I mean-
concept, because you've used these to project use of affluent and everything else, right?
I mean, roughly, there's probably not gonna be a ridiculous amount of designs. I like things to look neat and uniform, so if you did 2 designs, you'd do, say, in every other, to have it look, they'd all be matching colors, all matching. I mean, this is not low budget, this is all high end, so everything will look nice.
So they're gonna have their own separate bathrooms?
Yeah, bathroom each one, because you don't have any other bedrooms.
It depends, some cabins in the campground won't have a bathroom, just
But
like.
we're only talking these.
These will have bathrooms.
Everyone will have that, because where else would they go if they didn't have a bathroom?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, is there gonna be parking there alongside of the bungalows, or is the parking gonna be limited to the parking spaces that you have there?
Most of the parking would be in the parking spaces. A couple of them might be different just for, say, handicap accessibility to where they can get closer.
But if you've got 17 units and only 18 spaces, they're gonna have overflow parking like in the banquet area?
There's plenty of, there's 18 spaces, so I mean, usually.
Right, but I mean, that's about 1 per. I'm
Right.
just saying that, somebody's,
Yeah, I mean,
2
we would
people
have.
drive to the place, and you got more than.
And I mean, that's based on maximum capacity too.
Right.
You're fully booked, which doesn't always happen.
Can somebody drive along that road to unpack their car if they've got, overnight stuff?
Yeah, as it's designed, yes.
Okay, is this geofabric, which is detailed later on, but is this able to support emergency vehicles?
Yes.
Up to 36 to 60,000
Yeah,
pounds?
so I went over this with Dennis also when we were talking about the fire apparatus. We
Uh-huh.
get in, that
Yeah.
was one of this particular geogrid does support.
It does?
Fire rig, yeah.
Dennis is fine with that, I think, you said, right?
Correct.
That's pretty good, right?
Here's kind of just a reference photo, not saying it'd be exactly this design, but.
Conceptually, that's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
That's good. Will we keep that?
Yes.
Okay, I'm on CA 110. Again, just to kind of give, so the board's got a perspective. This is the stormwater basin at the far south of the property. And there's a dog park there. And if you go back and get the numbers off in other drawings here, that's about a 15-foot drop from the top to the lowest level. And those are shelvings that you notice between 407 and 406. It's about a 10-foot plateau, and that's the way those things are designed. And then after one more foot of drop, there's a little more in there. Okay, another 5-foot shelf or so approximately. But this is a fairly large one. But again, we don't know what those, unless you scale it out, exactly what that dimension is. And again, I think it shows a detail here of, this would be the eastern fence along the property line to a rise. It looks to me like that's about 5 feet off the property line. Is that correct? Yeah. About 5 feet? Okay. And again, up this, just because it's on this particular plate, around the bathroom that's showing here, right next to lots 88, 89, you got a footprint surrounded by concrete, but there's no land. I mean, is there going to be landscaping on this? We see no landscaping on anything here, anywhere in the plans. But this particular would be, there's two campsites right next to the bathroom. I mean,
usually your best campsites are close to.
Pardon?
Usually your best campsites are next to the bathrooms. People like that.
They like that, but they probably don't like to see the bathroom.
I mean, usually you go to campground.
All right.
Next to the bathroom.
But so there is no intent to landscape those?
No, this entire property will be trees. We're gonna bring in hundreds and hundreds of trees.
Okay, well, that's kind of.
I mean, it's gonna be a plush campground.
That's what we're gonna see. We have seen no landscaping plan.
I mean, I'm gonna plant trees throughout
at this point.
Of it.
Okay. Now on CA11, okay, 111. There again, there's the package plant. If you jumped ahead, but right below campsites 38 through 40 and 41 in that general area, that's where the package plant is going to be. Okay, and that swale below that is a bioretention pond. This one will have vegetation in it. Okay, this is the should, right?
Correct.
It's going to have vegetation. I got a question about the construction of just as information later on here. Okay, but that gives you an idea of what that is. Okay? On 112, there's not much different than what we've kind of looked at, but kind of wondering, question has been raised outside here of the road widths that meet fire code. That major roads need to be 26, minor roads need to be 20, and you're showing your main road to be 24, and these other ones to be less than 20. Anything that, so I'm just raising that as an issue that I think we need to look at somewhere here along the line. Up on CA 113, just curiosity, what's different about the campsites that are right off the incoming road there, 1 through 9? What are they proposed? What are they proposed for?
Cabins.
Those 1 through 9. Those are
1 through 9. Yeah.
Those are the cabins.
Oh, those are cabins.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so there's cabins cabins up top and cabins down below?
Correct.
I don't have anything on 114. Somebody else does. Okay, on 115, I, just so that you got a reference and you'll find out later, there's a pump station, there's 2 pump stations in the project. One is to the far north and the other is to the far south, okay? And you'll see the sanitary layout later on. Those buildings, the other buildings that exist, one of the issues is that they are in the PDD, and I guess they ought to be probably labeled as to what they do. You know, they're not, they may not participate in the activities of the PDD, that's fine, but they probably ought to be identified as to what they do, and then they would be part of the PDD, because the footprint encompasses that. So you ought to have probably uses, there ought to be uses on those.
Currently agricultural use.
I don't have anything on C1. Anywhere you want to jump in. Okay, now we kind of get into, we're into the utility plan here. And we see the sanitary sewers laid out, and there's certainly specs, and that's all DEC and everything else. And you can see where the bioretention plant or the package plant is, and the bioretention, etc. And again, just as an education point here, Ed, I see everything's gravity flow to the bottom, to the southernmost pump, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that's going to be pumped up to this station.
Yep.
Now, this station, again, we need to talk about where you are with that process with DEC and Board of Health. But just for the board's education here, what type of plant is this? Is it going to have secondary treatment?
It will have secondary treatment.
Okay, so this is going to, okay. So we're going to have that type of a plant. Now, I don't see anywhere where the effluent is. Where's the effluent going?
That is a good, so that came up when we were doing the design. So this design for this specific package plan is being done by a third party. Delta is the company who's designing.
Okay, but you're still, no matter whose it is.
Because there was a question on whether or not there was secondary or tertiary treatment required based on where it was discharging to. It was recently determined by them that only secondary treatment was required because it was being discharged to a non-intermittent stream. So we could discharge directly to the stream after secondary treatment.
Okay.
So
where's the stream?
Well, what I'm saying is we can, I guess what my point is with that, my understanding is we can discharge it anywhere. So we could discharge it even into the bioretention area.
Okay, that's what we wondered, if that was.
Ultimately gets downstream, yeah.
Okay, now what are you gonna do with, there's gonna be sludge no matter what you do, to some degree, depending on the degree of whether you're going to tertiary or wherever you're gonna.
Well, there's no tertiary, it's just the secondary.
Right, but I'm saying the farther down you go, the less sludge you're gonna have, most likely. But how is that gonna be handled?
So that, I know that they have a procedure as part of the inlet, you know, when it gets into the plant, they have requirements for treatment, but that sludge is held back, kind of like my understanding of it is, if you're looking at it like a septic tank, you've got a two-compartment septic tank.
By the way, folks, if you want to, EPA has a great piece on differentiating the different kinds of these package plants and explaining just what we're kind of talking about as far as the settling tanks and whether, you know, where the solids.
So there's a maintenance requirement.
But you still have effluent and you.
So with all of these, no matter the manufacturer, there is still a maintenance and operation.
Sure.
There are maintenance and operation requirements that need to be adhered to. So they would have, you know, and there's alarms and everything else and maintenance schedules that are gonna be required by DEC as part of their ongoing speedies permit that they would require be upkept. So that, you know, when the time comes, like you're talking about, to have filters changed or replaced or anything like that.
But I think for our purposes right now,
yeah,
we would need to kind of hone in as where would this effluent go? Somewhere. Whether you go, you have no stream, then where would it be?
Well,
so therefore, if you go to the ponds,
yeah,
that would be, I mean, I don't know whether you go to the bioretention ponds first, but you'd have to show, it seems like you'd have to show something here as to this, because water is going to be an issue with you ongoing, depending on.
Why is that going to be an issue?
Seasonal issues and
drainage.
High groundwater. You got high groundwater.
But that's the purpose of drainage and the design of having drainage.
Okay, that's where we're going, Jeff. We're just trying to
No,
we're trying to get that clear.
Right. That's why the drainage.
So that was the ongoing dialogue that we've been having with the package plant company, trying to sort out.
Okay.
How
so that's a work in progress.
Yeah.
At this point. Okay. Any other questions here, board? I didn't that. On CA 122, nothing specific except there's that kind of a black hole there for swimming pool, water park, etc., whatever that may be. Obviously, down the road, if the trigger is pulled to do that, that would have to come back for some kind of review, but as an alteration to the PDD. But just my question is, has anything been factored in as far as water, energy use, discharge, all that kind of things, with this kind of an activity into the design of this?
So what we did to answer the question with respect to discharge, stormwater specifically, is we just assumed all impervious for this area. So
all impervious?
So that no matter what's ultimately constructed in a full build-out scenario, it's accounted for in the drainage, so you're not having to go back and alter ponds or.
Okay, you're talking about surface drainage.
Correct.
I'm talking about any effluent. I mean, you got a factor of around 40,000 gallons per day effluent that has to be dealt with. You got water use, water in, water out. Okay, is that 40,000 incorporated some estimate for this? In other words, are you?
Yeah, so that was accounted for. We used the area of the water park, for in the manual, we used data out of that.
Okay, but I'm talking about go through your sanitary sewer system. In other words, if this is impervious, that's a generous, that would be a generous number, I would think, as far as, because it's normal ground, and you're going to have some percolation into that ground at this point, and as far as surface water. But if you do that as impervious, it all becomes surface water, and if that's factored into your design, that's great. I mean, you certainly have more than taken care of that. I'm asking the development of a water park and whatever other facility that is in here, is that factored into? It factored into the sanitary system.
Yes.
And the demand on that system.
Yes. And that was part of also in keeping with that was part of the discussion with Aaron at the health department when we went and met with them. Ultimately when this is going to have to be approved specifically by them. So that discussion was had with them with that package plan. So that was assuming the full build out of that is how we came up with the numbers for the package plan.
Okay. CA 123, I don't have anything really. most of, I mean, a lot of this is, in my opinion, is engineering, is, that would be standard engineering that they would do. And B&L would reflect on that, with their comments. Okay, we're on the other side of the road and realize that there is a pump station to the far south. So everything on that side goes north, collected in the pump station, pump through a line all the way back, and everything is collected on the south end, and then pumped to the package plant. But what we don't know is what comes out of the package. Dave, question?
Oh, I was just looking at the water. The water line's coming into the store from, is that the aqua? We could just tap the water line and then everything's private on this side of the road.
Right, so what we'll do is in the utility room, in the store, there will be the backflow prevention device, which is required for the meter. The meter RPZ will be in the utility room, and then after that it's all private.
What do you figure you're gonna have to?
Aren't there backflow preventers like at the restaurant and everything else? Isn't that what the RPZ is?
Yeah, but I think what Dave was referring to is coming right off the main, rather. Right. The question was
right, because I didn't know if they were gonna make you put it like a vault in,
They would if we didn't have the building there.
If you didn't have the building.
Right. Yeah. You do a hot box without it.
Right. So you're coming into the building, what, 6 or 8 inch line?
Yep. And then outside.
As you go into the park.
And you're my flat station.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, while we're there, and the arcade what is the arcade? I mean, I think we all have a vision of a mini golf course. Is this a building with machines, or is it?
Yeah.
What is it?
An arcade is where you put quarters and money in.
Okay, so there's going to be a structure with a roof on it.
Yeah,
right.
They wouldn't handle it.
Pardon?
The machines wouldn't be able to be outdoors.
No. Okay, that's. But shouldn't that somehow be that idea designed? You don't have to design your mini golf course, but I don't really.
So same thing for this. On this plan as we've been discussing, it's kind of more the the space reserve. In
so
that area. That's where he's going to be doing the mini golf and arcade area.
Okay. Now, while we're right up front here on this, are you going to have propane? You're going to have propane tanks?
As of right now, that is the plan, is for propane. Propane, unless there was some way.
Are you going to have a big tank, or are you going to provide just the refills, so 20 pounders?
Well, probably for the cabins, we'll have to have the tanks at each individual one, but also got to look into, because I do believe the school bus garage has natural gas, to see what it eventually would possibly be to bring the natural gas that little ways down.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize North Chenango had natural gas. Okay. Because you're going to have to, if you got a tank, if you got a tank and you're going to refill them rather than make the exchange. You got to have that all 100 feet away from every building and everything else. And those small tanks are a different deal. I mean, there's nothing mentions here.
I've never heard of propane tanks being 100 feet away from buildings.
I said if you're going to have the big dispensing tank that you're going to refill tanks. If you got the 20 pounders,
probably more of an exchange system.
Yeah, if you have the exchange, that's a different story. They're right in front. People have them right in front of the store. Okay, 125. We looked at that. Any question about that? The event center. Okay. All right. Now, I'm on like 130 here, and just this is the kind of the end of the surface drainage is going to end up down here someplace on this side of the road anyway, right?
No. Well,
surface.
Kind of, there's a break in the topography in the site. So the south side of the
Sort of
road.
feet.
So the first half, the northern half of the south side of the road drains in a northerly direction.
The one above the restaurant.
Yes. Yep, and so everything from about, well, if you're looking at the overall plan, everything from about the water park or so that line south drains south.
Okay, now, are there gonna be, there's no indication, at least, that a novice could read on the plans as to, you know, ditches or whatever, open drainage or whatever, sheet flow to either direction. What I want to raise here, and just like a little clarification. Okay, in the seeker that, depending on, the first one said your water table was less than a foot. Well, I think your water table is a little more than a foot. That little pond up in the corner up there that exists, has been there, that's the water table. Right? Well, wherever you got a pond, top on the property, wherever the top of that water is, that's the water table.
The water is in that area. Yeah.
That's where the water table is. That's maybe ballpark, without getting, maybe between 6 and 8 feet down, most. These swales, they're going down like 15 feet. The usable part, they're going to have water in these, not the bioretention ones.
They're not, you're talking about the ponds, not the swales, right?
Well,
swales aren't 15 feet deep on the site.
No. But the stormwater basins, okay, they're up to 15 feet deep. Okay, but they're going to have
static water in them.
They're going to have water in them 24/7, no matter what you do. And given high water conditions, if you look at some of these soils, they'll say, you know, groundwater is going to be 1 to 2 feet below the surface seasonally. So the usable capacity of those is going to be quite limited. How was the calculations made that they had the capacity to handle that type? How do you do that? I'm just asking a procedural question here. Just how does that occur? Because your usable part of these swales is nowhere near the depth that they exist.
So that's going to be, so the way that you model it is everything from your designated static water level above is those are your performance layers. So from there to the top of your berm.
What's usable? Yeah.
That's what you're using.
That's correct.
Performance purposes.
So that's determined your sizing and everything else.
Yes.
Okay. I don't have anything here. Forget that. Okay. I'm up on again, these are basically grading plans, and they're you know your topos to fit the surface drainage so that the ponds are tied in, etc. And this could be brought up in a number of these. Again, that roadway, the tree houses and things, the proximity to the neighbor's line, I don't know whether that's an issue with anybody or not. Again,
it's a very thick hedgerow too, and the property line's into the trees.
Pardon?
So there's a buffer with a thick hedgerow to where you can't see the neighboring property.
On the east side?
Yeah, that'd be the east, yes. Where all those tree houses are, so there's a thick visual barrier.
Okay. All right, I'm on CA 501. Okay, now we get into some details. We got some nice diagrams on how to plant a tree. But where are the trees? I guess that's the question. Where are they supposed to go?
Everywhere.
Well, we need a plan to see them. We need some kind of a landscaping plan. Haven't seen anything like that. And again, I'm going through here, you know, people that deal with this stuff, you know, this is just, you know, how to protect your pipes on the curves and put in the blocking, et cetera, okay? There's, what am I doing here? This one. Oh, okay, yeah. CA 504, just call the board's attention to that one. I think that's something that we've raised and of interest in. I just want a little clarification. Down in the lower right, it says campsite gravel pad detail. Okay, so we're assuming that every campsite, every delineated campsite is going to be laid out like this, maybe not with a picnic table, correct? Right, a picnic table and a slab, that says there that's a premium site. So there are economy, okay, as their middle ground, and premium sites. I don't know. But anyway, what we're looking at here is the pad, the cross section you have up above. Okay, the way I read this is that this is going to have to be excavated out at least 6 inches, right? Take the topsoil vegetation that's there down 6, and then you're going to layer it per that, the crusher run and the number 57 stone. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? All right, and the other side is going to be left very permeable, just in natural condition. So there's open space vegetation, could be grass, whatever. Now, is there going to be a buffer between one campsite and another? Just, we don't see anything on the plans, so we don't know.
The size of the sites creates the buffer. There's a lot of open area between them.
Yeah, I think that's
These are
kind of
large sites.
the intent.
The size of them? Okay.
Yeah, use that.
And every site will probably have 5-6 trees planted on them.
Can't hear you, Jeff.
Every site will probably have 5-6 trees planted on them. I mean, there's.
Okay, can we see? That's what we probably ought to, we just kind of like to see what that might look like. And here's on C505, the last one, I guess this is the geofabric, and this is a technical question that I would think that whatever, and I guess the only question that comes up is that, could that support, 18 ton to 30 ton rescue vehicles? And I guess we're hearing it is, but.
We used it at CNX.
Pardon?
We used it at the railroad yards, and we put the material in it, into the grid, for the tractor trailers to run on, because they had such a problem down there in East Syracuse with the ground separation. So we put the verified paper, and we put these grids, and believe it or not, it works really well. Really well.
All right, I don't have anything else on the front. You guys covered? Okay. All right. I think that leaves us with, where are we now, so to speak? We are in receipt. Something right hot off the press. We did get a B&L review of the SWIP. Okay, we really haven't had time. That came in at about 5:30 tonight. Okay, we haven't really had time to digest that, but it is what it is.
Didn't B&L review it?
Beg your pardon?
B&L reviewed it, correct?
Yes, they got it. They got it. They reviewed it. They sent comments on it.
So the engineers reviewed it.
They have looked at your SWIP that Ed submitted. I guess Ed, you did it. Ed submitted, and they have commented on that. Okay. We got seeker. We got that came in December. Okay. and the B&L comments on seeker. We've got a letter from, why do I always have trouble with his name? Gordon Stansbury, on the traffic, okay, in response to that. So those things now, have you submitted your revised plans to B&L as far as their initial comments?
Nope, so I talked to Taylor this afternoon, told him, so we got the SWIP comments, and we got the plan comments all addressed, but we were waiting for the SWIP comments to come in, because obviously if there are ramifications on discharge structures, drainage, anything,
Sure.
if there's implications on the plans, we didn't want to do it twice.
Okay.
So we got through all of the plan comments that they had. We got the SWIP.
As far as
comments.
you're concerned, you got those addressed.
We did.
Right.
And then same thing with the SWIP. So we got through those comments, and that was what I called Taylor about this afternoon, just to let him know we got through the comments. There wasn't anything.
Okay, but they've got to respond to that. So
Right.
you have got to give them the latest updated plans to do that.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's a work in progress.
Yeah, I mean, we've got all their stuff in there, but yes, in that, we have not responded with the updated stuff because we were waiting for the SWIP comments to incorporate those changes.
Okay. Now the traffic letter from Gordon. Okay. That I'm not sure. I need some help on this one, Jen. No third party looked at that, correct?
No third party?
In other words,
So
okay,
the county made a comment, and we asked Ed to consult with his traffic guy, and Gordon is I think he's PTOE, he's a certified traffic engineer, and then the comment we got back from him, he gave us his final conclusions based on the county's open questions, so he's answered that. So that's where that.
okay, but does that board, and I guess that would be up to the board here, does that need to be reviewed by B&L? As to, I mean, we are not qualified as traffic people.
I'll say, the one thing I will say is I use Gordon for a lot of projects, and I think he's kind of a recognized expert, and I think it's up to this, I mean, some of you guys.
I don't think you have to, the consultant, he's certified and that's what he does.
Okay. That's, he gets paid pretty good money for this, as far as I know. I paid him a lot.
Okay, so we need to complete the seeker, but in the meantime, you're probably gonna have to update the seeker according to today's comments.
So we're not doing seeker.
We're talking about the part one, what are we talking about, the part one? I'm sorry.
B&L gave you a review on the seeker, correct?
Yeah, it's part one of the EAF as well.
So the EAF was updated. So the EAF that I gave you, that.
Okay, let's take a look at that. You got a copy of that?
I'm looking at it. So that was updated. So the areas, all that stuff has been updated in accordance with B&L, the current updated plans.
Well, I'm confused here. All right, this is the seeker review. The seeker review was today.
Mm-hmm.
And you have, the seeker that we have in our hands right now reflects all the changes that we got from today?
No, I'm sorry, that was a misunderstanding. Because that couldn't, because I was on my way here when that review letter came in that's in your.
Right. Well, that's kind of the point I'm making.
But the point that I'm making is that the seeker form that you have in your left hand is, what's the date on page 13
Well,
of that?
this one prepared 10/10 or 12/10.
12/10, right, so the comments on their plans were dated, I think, November 19th. from the plans, not the SWIP, the plans. Right?
Says here dated December 10th.
That's the date of the EAF. So the date, so we submitted the plans to B&L, they commented on the plans.
Okay.
When I came in here to meet, whatever it was, 2 weeks ago, the
So
EAF
some of
was-
these have probably been already addressed.
Yes.
But you're gonna have to get, B&L is gonna have to say something here that you did. Right?
On the plans, yeah, yep. And like I said,
Right.
the letter that you were referring to in your writing.
Couple of things, I just got a couple of questions on that. I looked what I did, just so everybody knows. I've got this is the one that the only seeker we had, and this was prepared in June. Okay?
Yep.
It had blanks, et cetera.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
Because you were developing the plans at that point. Okay. So I kind of compared them as we go along, and there's only a couple things here that really B&L hadn't. They made the same statement that I probably would have made too. The gallons per day dropped a little bit on the second seeker compared to the first. And, roughly about 3,800 gallon a day. I don't know why.
Okay.
But then it was higher on the first one. And again, there's voids here that you need to, the one I have in my hand, this 1210 is not filled in as far as, do that. Oh, take my phone. Yeah, so one of the things, the disturbed acreage has gone up to about 78. Started out on the first seeker about 10 acres, and now it's about 78 acres, rounded. Okay? Just to confirm that you agree with that. And again, I had a question in here about the water park, if that was factored in, or there was some kind of a fudge factor or buffer that you put in for that purpose. Okay. The other one was on page 6. And again, that's referenced in the B&L statements of today about the square feet of impervious surface and parcel size and stuff like that. Those under C, not C. E, proposed action, have more than 1 acre stormwater runoff. And the answer was yes, it needs to be delineated. Over on page 8, again, we answered that, we raised that question about what you're going to do with propane depending on what you do. You check no storage. Well, if you go to a big service tank, you got storage on that. Then on page 9, I would question that there's probably no industrial use around in this area that I'm aware of, unless you could stretch it, you could put a bulk company there. But as far as gives an idea to the board, underneath the acres of the project after completion compared to current, what's going to be disturbed, what's going to be changed, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think I have. Yeah, this is the one. I'm on page 11. That's another kind of open question here. on 11, on the initial seeker, you had federal wetlands checked. Underneath the revised seeker, it's now state wetlands. It could be both.
It is both, and it can be both.
That's right.
Yeah.
So in other words, it should be state and federal wetlands?
But there's no, there's no jurisdictional, so the federal wetlands they're isolated wetlands, and under the current regulations, if they're isolated wetlands, then the feds don't, there's no nexus to them.
Until they connect to a waterway, basically, right?
Yeah, which our
That's when they get
biologists
involved.
have determined that they don't. So therefore, under the current regulations, there's no federal jurisdictional wetlands that exist on the property.
But the little fact sheet here that says here, surface water, wetlands, federal waters.
So on the fact sheet, this document, the EAF auto-populates. So the EAF, when you fill this thing out, it auto-populates, and these responses, the summary report is kicked out by the state on the EAF. We had our own professional wetland biologists go out there to either confirm or deny the existence of these features. So those features, if they pop in the auto-populated EAF, they were still confirmed. So that in the southern portion of the site, down by that basin by the dog park, that there is a nexus that connects across the railroad to that state-regulated wetland. So that area down there in that very lower portion of our subject site is in fact a state wetland. The state has jurisdiction over that feature. Okay, but what they were talking about is the area up front. That's where it showed up in the resource mapper on the northern part of the southern portion of the site, but those are not, because of the way that they're defined, they're not, the feds don't have jurisdiction.
Okay.
They're isolated.
All right. Any other questions on the submittals we now have in front of us? I know you have not had time to digest all of the B&L responses and stuff, but I think if we just kind of cut to the chase, where does that leave us? Well, they need to respond to B&L with their response to their evaluation, and then we need to get some kind of closure from B&L that you have satisfied whatever they have asked you to do.
So you're delaying this more?
No, this is normal procedure.
I thought we were at a point where we were doing the seeker.
So I did create a proposed set of findings for you to read and consider. I'm not gonna tell the board what to do, but I do encourage you to take a look what's in there. Everything that I put in there is backed up with what's in the record. And I think Ed can tell you, you've seen a little bit of it, so he kind of knows what's in there. And you've got to get through seeker, and we have to give our recommendation on the project. So those are the two big open items: finish seeker, and then get to that. Now, theoretically, the town board, well, not theoretically, the town board has to hold a public hearing on the local law. But my guess is that the board was waiting for seeker to be completed, but technically the board could still conduct a public hearing on the local law. Just can't take action on it until you complete the seeker. We like to have it all done so it's finished, and then you know when you get to the next step you've cleared all those hurdles. But I'll talk to Jeff and see where the town board is at with trying to schedule a public hearing on the local law for the PDD. But again, the town board can't approve the local law until seeker's been completed by you guys. And of course, they want your recommendation as well before they vote on it.
Board, where's your feeling? We can do this, and B&L could probably have a response to you in less than a week. Could they not? If you get the paperwork done, if the revisions are on the maps that they asked for, then it shouldn't take them too long for them to get out through their checklist and see what you got, right? In the meantime, this board can digest this, because we just got that tonight, a proposal for approval on the seeker. And, you know, maybe we can have a special meeting in a week or so, and,
We had talked about some dates, right? I think we had kind of maybe penciled in a few dates for a special meeting. One of the ones I see on my calendar is Wednesday the 12th for a special meeting, and maybe if everything was done, you could tighten that all up.
No.
Okay, I think I had 2 dates, I don't see
Yes.
the other one on here.
that works. That works.
What time we
No,
talking?
John,
Evening?
Up to you guys.
What's our other option with you, John? You're kind, oh, you're going out of town.
Yeah, I'm gonna be away.
You're not gonna find, we're not gonna find a good date with you.
No, I'm out, you guys have to do it.
Okay, all right.
12th?
So the 12th.
I mean, I've
Let's go.
already
Okay.
logged it into my calendar, and I think, were you available for the 12th, Ed? Is that something that you're around for?
What time we talking?
I had 6, but it doesn't have to give you whatever
Sure.
time you
6
want
is
it to
good.
be.
6 is good.
Let's do that, and of course, it predicated that we get B&L here to get this done, you know. So the ball's in your court to get to B&L and get this signed off.
now
I guess we're not gonna look at traffic, we don't worry about that. Do we need, the other thing is, eventually, do we need a statement from Aqua saying service is adequate? I mean, they aren't gonna, there's no design. The other thing is too, there's no hydrants on your plans. Wouldn't there need to be, isn't there?
No, we've got, so that was one of the things that we already previously discussed. I talked with Dennis on that because as we figured out tonight, these are wet ponds for the stormwater basins. So those were.
Those are in lieu of hydrants?
Yeah, he was good with
Okay.
those.
Like, we didn't understand that.
So what was your question, Frank? I'm sorry. You had a question for me, or I can't remember.
No, I'm just saying, I think we need to, the question was Aqua, that, you know, just that they can, so they're aware, I guess, basically, you're just saying,
Yeah, they're aware.
they're aware of the dimensions of the project, and at the time of request, hey, we have no problem, we got plenty of water.
So there's certain aspects of this entire project that it just has to work or the project doesn't go forward. So like Ed's point about the package treatment plant requires an operator, requires DEC and county health department approval. That has to happen.
Yep.
And won't operate until those occur. I would think that the Aqua question also has to be resolved to Aqua's satisfaction. We don't know that there's any problem with that as long as we follow their regulations. But I would assume that there's going to be, Aqua's always expanding everywhere, so I assume if everything's sized properly, Aqua won't have any problem supplying water. They'll be more than thrilled to sell water to a project, is my guess. So, but you know, again, if you can't get the water, you can't open the doors, so it'll be needed. The water will have to happen.
Okay.
So back to the public hearing for the town board, you said there's no reason the town board can't schedule it.
Yeah, so that's not for me to say. That would be
Right.
for the town board members to decide. And as Ed and a bunch of people know, I've been working with members of the town board to draft the documents that will be necessary at the proper time to go ahead and schedule and hold a public hearing. So I'm not concerned about getting all that put together. That should be fine.
But as far as seeker, that's not happening.
Well, I don't think they're gonna be able to complete it tonight, but it sounds like they're willing to do a special meeting on the 12th to
We'll make that,
bring that home.
that's a prime, that'll be one of the prime subjects right there.
And there is a draft in your package as a starting point, so, you know, it's a working document. If you have comments or wanna add things to it, go ahead. Ed and I looked at it already, and he's given me his own comments that I've thrown some stuff in, and that's all fine. I'm sure there's more that could be put into it.
Now at the 12th meeting, would that also be the meeting where a vote could possibly happen to kick it to the town board?
It's up to those guys.
And we're gonna have, are we gonna have, at that point, we need to work on possibly a draft statement.
Recommendation?
Yeah, because I mean, we need a pathway here from the board as to how that will be improved if we can't get it done that night.
Yeah, right. So you and I can talk about that.
So that, I mean, there would be no, I mean, if the board gave me some flexibility there, we could do that without a meeting and move that along. Okay, we can get as long as we got the,
You get a
the major
consensus, you get a
salient.
consensus on the big issues and then
Yeah,
the
get
actual
consensus.
drafting can
We
occur
can
after.
certainly list those and see what you make sure you want in that statement and what John feels. And we can put together the goals of that on the 12th.
That's a good idea.
Okay? Anything else?
A motion?
Okay, we need a motion to, have a public meeting on the 12th at 6 o'clock.
So moved.
I'll second.
It's an open, general, public meeting.
We gotta have, make sure that Jerry or somebody notices that, Phil, does Jerry?
We'll take care of that.
Okay, so Rose and Jerry will, make sure that gets done.
Yep. We'll do. Okay? All right. Anything else? All right. Just, we'll document this. We're gonna sign these guys. I think we are we? Are we gonna sign these papers for these guys and take?
Yeah.
Or we decided that they haven't learned enough yet? Will there be any quizzes?
I think
Okay,
it's a
we need a vote on that for the official
Jeff
meeting.
got something going on?
Jeff? I'll talk with
Yeah,
them.
for the police, with some of the abbreviations.
Oh, yeah, no, we need to get you on.
You wanna sign their forms first?
Oh, okay, yeah, we'll do that. No, well, we can't close the meeting. Okay, we voted on the special meeting?
Yes.
Yes, we did? Okay.
If you need
Dick-
to talk
Dick-
tomorrow, come
Dick
in
needs to
tomorrow
do
morning,
that.
when I have more time to talk.
All right, let's, Jeff, while you get up here, let's bring up your sheets, guys. We're just pulling your legs. I taught for many years. I love to play with your mind. Hand them out, they're folks, just sign it.
No, I forgot, we got a space here.
Now we gotta answer the question, what's Steve's?
Put name and number. You did that?
I just,
Number person.
oh, I just signed it.
What does BNS?
Partner of Lewis, that's the consulting engineers that we use to,
So they're the ones that can verify everything?
they're going over all of the stuff that's in here to make sure that it meets all the qualifications,
They're
requirements and stuff,
registered
yeah.
engineers.
So what's the secret?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
is
gonna
there-
ask
is
that
there-
too.
what's
Part of
the-
their quality review.
Okay.
Yeah. Here, this is,
We don't wanna know what
This-
secret is.
any
No, we got
project,
time for
any
that.
project in a municipal, with village, town, whatever, if they take action, be it the town board, planning board, zoning board, okay? If they take any kind of an action, they have to do some kind of an environmental evaluation of that project. Now, this one is a very involved, the one you just listened to. So there's a lot of stuff, okay? If it's the guy with the windmill, no, we can answer those questions in 2 minutes and sign one sheet and it's over, okay? But it has to be done. Or if somebody really challenges the project and takes it to court, the judge would say, go back and do it right. Face up.
Okay.
They slap your hands, we're not, you know.
So, yeah, okay, so for larger projects, you
Yeah.
have to seek more.
That's it. Everybody get signed here?
Yes.
Good luck, guys, have fun.
Who's the teacher for Pig now?
Mr. Bailey.
Mr. Bailey, okay, he's still there.
Well, thank you so much.
You're entirely welcome, good luck.
Thank you.
Have a nice night.
Good luck.
Yep,
And, good, I hope, yes, I'm prepared. You ready for me, Frank?
sure we are. Yep, yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, I forgot it.
Martin Farms, as you know, over the years, farms consolidate. They took, 3 farms over the years, made it into one. I have gotten out of the business. Mr. Durfee from Tuscarora Dairy is now leasing our farm. But one of the old farmhouses, which is falling into, it's about Haddett, on the corner at the top of my driveway. Frank will give you a couple of big copies. My son would like to renovate. So I had it surveyed off by Mike McCulley, squared it up, but I had to maintain the storm systems and the drainage systems for the farm. That's still an active farm. I have no intention to do any more than this. Unfortunately, he can't get a mortgage unless I can do a small subdivision so that he can proceed to get a mortgage and rebuild this house and maybe give me some grandchildren nearby, so.
Folks, I don't know if any of you, okay, Ridge Road, we get to Ridge Road? Everybody?
Yeah.
All right, well, you're going pretty well down Ridge, and before you start heading due south to Casanova, okay? Big bend, couple of big bends. The Martin Farm is right here, okay? The buildings, the operating buildings in Jeff's house. And over here, there's another old farmstead. And that's what he's cutting out.
That's essentially.
But you're heading right up the hill. If you're going this way, you're going right up, and the next thing you're gonna run into, well, before Stanley Road, what is that?
So, I mean, it used to include the old barnyards for the cows. That is not usable land for farmland at this point. So he's gonna clean it up, put it into a lawn, renovate this home, and make it a
2.1 acres.
2.1 acres, two-story, two-story, single dwelling home.
On septic, no water.
On septic, no water. You'll have to drill a new well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, wait a minute.
Unfortunately, the dug well for this farm.
Oh, this is okay.
Is out in the field, and so I'm going to parcel this off. He has to drill his own.
Oh, really?
Well, he'd never be able to get a mortgage without a zoning well. So he's already budgeted it, and we're going to move forward with
Hope
it.
he doesn't have to go too deep.
No, 287 feet is typical up in my area, so we know.
Is that what it is? 280? Okay. All
Right.
right.
That's a good size, that's a deep one.
It's deep
We
enough.
need,
Public hearing?
Yep.
Yep.
Well,
Whatever's
yeah,
next.
we have no choice on that. Can we schedule a public hearing for next month?
Sure.
Okay, we have a motion to do so.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion concerning that?
Who seconded?
Okay,
Who seconded? You did.
that would be what date, Rose?
2/1/22
February.
at 6:45, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we gotta do a
6:45.
quick secret tonight, Frank, if you're game.
Okay, we'll do it.
All right, I'm gonna suggest.
All right, so you're good, Jeff.
All right.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
let
see-
me know if there's anything else I need to do.
I don't see any other questions at this point.
Any extra copies anybody wants?
I'm gonna suggest that you guys will be the lead agency for this unlisted action. You'll have a negative declaration based on me checking the box. No small impact on this very minor 2-lot subdivision. I gotta admit, I was making notes. What's the size of the lot we're carving out?
2.2.
2.0?
No,
2.12.
2.12 acres. That's your motion for secret. But I need it for a second.
Motion for the meeting or motion for the seeker?
For the seeker, a negative declaration. You guys are lead agency for unlisted.
We already did Paul and John.
Yeah, Paul.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Good. I thought that was just for the.
We'll leave that, we'll leave right there.
Don't
Meld
you-
it all together.
Don't you want to vote together?
Yes, we do. You're right. Okay, I got it.
Reference, this is reference to map by Michael McCauley Land Surveying, dated 11/29/21. 11/29/21. I don't think we got a. Jeff, where are you? You made application and, okay, what is the fee now? 400 and 475, isn't it? Yeah, if, that's for town residents, other town residents is more. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so you need to get an app in, and you need to figure